at that point that there was an opening in the market for a freelance company. We did that, we set the company up, and we made inroads into the commercials and TV and film markets. The process was always just to basically sort things out on the bench. Slowly as the company grew and things developed, we became aware of the potential for various forms of CAD. The potential now to use SOLIDWORKS for fully designing something before we actually commit to building it is fantastic.
We first started using SOLIDWORKS about 6 or 7 years ago, which is when we got our first license. As soon as we saw what SOLIDWORKS could do, we sort of jumped on board. I mean, SOLIDWORKS has had a big impact on our response time. So around 3 years ago, we were asked to build the first Brian the Robot for Confused.com. We got given some visuals and an OBJ file of the outside sort of shell and the design of the robot. And then we had to figure out how to build it and how to operate it ourselves on set. And that's the process, I think, from sign-off to being on set filming the first commercial was 2 weeks and 3 days. So that was pretty quick. While it would have been possible to produce the robot, it would not have been possible to do it at the time without SOLIDWORKS. With quoting, a client can come to us, I can quickly sketch a model, I can be sending them back ideas within a couple of hours. The ability to produce visuals, I think is really good. Photography has been great for us to be able to give people a very good idea of what their product's going to look like, what their prop's going to look like, what their shot window's going to look like. That's been great. At the beginning of last year, we produced quite a few props for the latest Take That tour. One of the ones I was involved in was a flying bicycle. We had a bit of a nightmare on occasions with people having something drawing over and overwriting things. We heard about PDM and it's made a massive difference in terms of the security of the model. We've got revision control. And we've also got a really nice, good library.
We've actually produced some special effects equipment for the industry. We've had an enhancing exterior smoke gun, which we actually sold several thousand units. I think it's actually quite a well-known piece of special effects equipment within the industry. So I think off the back of that, something we've done is we've decided to roll out a line of R10 products. One of those things has been an R10 wind machine, which has been solely designed in SOLIDWORKS. Its place in the market is to last longer than the average wind machine, which is typically designed to last maybe 1 year to 2 years, I think, or throughout the duration of the film. So we've designed something which is actually a really well thought out piece of equipment with all sorts of flow analysis done to produce as much thrust and power and make the machine as efficient as possible, which we're bringing into market.
Manufacturing process is a lot more controlled, so we're saving a lot more man hours. We're also being able to automate a lot of stuff. We're using 3D printers a lot more now. We use SolidCam as part of SOLIDWORKS to output everything to our 3-axis CNC machine. We've got, as well as our 3-axis CNC machine, we've got a multi-axis machine, which we also output some of our models to. So there's a lot of savings with that, plus some of the work just simply wouldn't be possible. I mean, our industry is very time-driven, so the ability to design quickly and to start manufacturing very quickly on these projects means that other people...
A very good morning to all those who are outside the banquet. I would request everybody to please come inside and take their seats so that we can begin with our session. I repeat, all those who are outside the banquet, I would request everybody to please come inside and occupy the seats so that we can start with our session. Thank you.
I always tend to bring sort of solutions up, get a recommendation of the latest service pack we should be running or the latest upgrade, whether there are any issues. I'm always very aware, especially running PDM and having a number of users using our system, that we need to be doing the right thing at the right time. But that's been really useful.
And it's enabled us to produce things to a much higher and more sophisticated level. I mean, I think that is the beauty of it for us, is that instead of just making a prototype, you can make something that's fully considered as a piece of engineering, and it's really raising that game enormously.
March of 2015, we set about developing the business across a core range of different markets, different areas that we think we can supply and play to our better strengths. So we've invested money into the business through kit, machinery, and the programming side of it, which is the SOLIDWORKS side, which is great. Now put ourselves in amongst hotels, and schools, and retail. We go from the likes of Harrods, Selfridges. We work for Louis Vuitton, we do a lot of work for the Couples. We've done the work at the Armoury Stadium, we fitted all that out. We're currently just starting on the Finsbury Park project for Arsenal Football Club. So that's a big brand. We won, just prior to Christmas, an 18-bar fit out at the Olympic Stadium for West Ham United. So that's very strong, very good. Conceptually puts us in a real strong place. So we have to be looking at what makes us different. What can I get the group to look at and go, this is where we want it to be. And I think looking at the partnership with SOLIDWORKS is one of the key areas that we want to keep moving in the business. And I think we're well aware we're only using SOLIDWORKS to a very small amount of what it's capable of doing.
I went to Teesside University. We used SOLIDWORKS, or we did a lot of analysis and a lot of surfacing and things at university. I think the way SOLIDWORKS is, you can just pick stuff up and it's quite intuitive. If you know how to do something in surfacing, it's quite sort of similar in solid modelling. So while I was getting quite proficient in surfacing, when I said actually you don't be doing it, you're going to be doing solid modelling, it was something that you could still jump into. So it was the same sort of processes.
With the way the architects work and the way our clients work, they were able to give us files into the business. We were able to tech them and quicken the process up. So what it's done is it's taken a couple of years, but we built a library of development of core drawings, which enables us to turn around a lot quicker.
But when we're doing a run of things, so say we're making 20 of a unit and they're all varying sizes, I can just draw one up and then put an equation in and then everything will just update with it. When we draw everything will do it, and that can make it very quick. We've started using the cutting lists, so we can give them straight to CNC machines so they don't have to do that much. We've been saving things out of Z-drones as well, and then the lads out there can actually have a look at it. But rather than run me in and out here every 5 minutes, if there is something down 100% clear, they can take it apart on the E-drone and look at it. So that's SOLIDWORKS working with E-drones is quite a really helpful feature actually.
One of the keys we sell and what really works for us is when we tell people we're working in SOLIDWORKS and giving them a 3D image of what we can do. You know, certainly some of the higher retailers certainly look for a walkthrough passage, a walkthrough development, and when you go into isometrics and 3D sides of things, it enables them to see it before it's actually made. What this has allowed us to do is to show that visual quite strongly and make sure they're getting what they want.
Well, on a recent project we've done on the Olympic Park Stadium for West Ham, the new West Ham headquarters, we have a lot of bars which have padding on the front, so we've used weldments quite a lot because it means we just draw a rectangle and the job's done. It does all the colours for us. We don't have to individually draw up every piece of modelling on the bar.
I think SOLIDWORKS has played a major part in us being able to get there quicker because we can offer a turnaround. Like we're looking at a project at the moment for the RBS Bank in Manchester, and it's a very short programme for us. So what SOLIDWORKS has enabled us to do from a programming point of view, which is very important, is get it drawn and broken down and put into manufacture very, very quickly. You know, in a short period of 2 or 3 days, we're turning around cash desks or buffet counters, and it's helped in that respect. So yeah, it is getting there a lot quicker. CAD-Tech's very good. CAD-Tech have always been there, and our guys use the facility of phoning them and getting the backup and getting the information feedback, and everything's very positive, very helpful.
I had a ring on CAD-Tech because it was a metal frame, bit of framework, like trim. And the way it made it was quite difficult, and I was trying to use intersections to do it and I couldn't get it to work. So I rang up CAD-Tech to see if there was an alternate way, and he suggested weldments. And he just talked us through how to create the weldments, how to make it all work. how to trim it, locate them, all of those different things. So that was quite helpful.
One of the things we set aboard when we took the business over in March of last year was to get the drawing department together, get the manufacturing together, and make sure that SOLIDWORKS become the program that we did all our drawings in. Everything that we work towards now is drawn in SOLIDWORKS because of the way it just works for us.
Solutions to basically forward the dreams of people's imagination, from things like the Martin Jetpack, which I think is used on the cover of SOLIDWORKS on the 2015 edition, through to things like generator sets for all sorts of applications possible. So we started off making paramotors, which is backpack aircraft, and the essence of the company was really about having fun. It was about trying to make products that would allow people to have fun and go and enjoy flight. And so my business partner and founder of the company, Jilo, started creating these paramotors, and one of the paramotors created was the Fly Bear Grylls, with a chap called Bear Grylls, and they did that on a Discovery Channel program, and it just so happened that engine they created for doing that documentary was what most of the aviation industry was looking for, and so that spawned this new company called Rotron, and that was really the start of the growth of Jilo Industries Group.
The unique features of our products are high power to weight ratio. They're an extreme propulsion system.
Yes, that's way better. And the second contest we have for all of you is the highest 2-weeks and V2-weeks contest. So you need to share your event experience, how you're feeling today. And what you need to do about it, you need to tweet about it at beacon_India and at SOLIDWORKS India with hashtag, remember this hashtag SWX, that's for SOLIDWORKS 19 launch, and hashtag SOLIDWORKS 2019. The one with the highest number of tweets and retweets will win amazing prizes, ladies and gentlemen. Are you all excited? Do you all want to win prizes? Nobody will give you a prize for this, yes. Not happening. Do you really want to win a prize? Do you want to go back home and show all your loved ones, yeah, listen to what I won today, and wow, listen to my experience. It was an amazing launch. Do you want to say that? Okay, now come on, do you want to say that? Yeah, that's way better. So ladies and gentlemen, so apart from these opportunities, you also have a referral program, that is Build Our Own Community program. So what we do in this is we have a booth right outside over here where you can refer a company who can become a part of our SOLIDWORKS community and can leverage the benefits of SOLIDWORKS. All you need to do is you need to fill the details of the booth. We have exciting giveaways for this, but the criteria is that a minimum of 3 company details have to be filled in the sheet. The details of the companies will be verified by our team, and based on the verifications, gifts will be given during the 4 p.m. coffee break. You can fill in the sheet and submit in the Build Our Community booth outside. The deadline to submit the references by 3 p.m. So I'm sure during the coffee break all of you will rush out.
So you can see tolerances much more easily. It definitely reduces the risk of error. The major challenge is it comes down to test, and this is where FMEA, where the different stress analysis processes sort of works actually save a lot of time. It's definitely driven down test scores. The simulation is vital to us now. The modelling and simulation of rotary engines is very, very difficult. The dynamics and the heat that's going through the engine engines. For example, the shaft, we've done a lot of work on that recently. We've got more longevity out of it, so we've given ourselves a better advantage over our competitors, and our engines are now more durable. SOLIDWORKS has definitely had an impact on our competitive advantage across the market.
We need to make our components really lightweight, and so we can use the FEA facilities to pare back the design as much as possible. We use the interaction to the machine shop to be able to machine parts very quickly, which is really useful for R&D and development type projects. Components is fantastic for doing build manuals and operations manuals, because you can take the direct CAD data, use those images to create build sheets, which is just such a great aid for the assembly technicians on the floor.
We're starting to use Composer for our live production, and the more flexibility you have in production, the faster you can produce, the less expensive it is to produce a product.
Solid solutions have been proactive. For example, the implementation of our PDM software is incredibly complex, and that needs constant change and development as we've gone through and developed our process, and we found that help is essential.
The resellers have been fantastic support for us, both in terms of offering training and the telephone support. Being able to come in and demonstrate something like the flow simulation package, just so that we can kind of get a good understanding of how the benefits of that will really apply to us. The future for the business is that we're really growing. We've got lots of contracts that we're going to be meeting in the next few years, and SOLIDWORKS is going to enable us to deliver those projects really quickly. Now, I have to say, every day is a school day with SOLIDWORKS because there's always new tricks to learn with it. There's so much functionality. Yeah, it's a fantastic package.
A very good morning, ladies. Everybody settled? Are we good to start? Can we have a more louder yes? So guys, are we ready to start? Yes. Alright, great. Once again, a warm welcome to you all. My name is Mugdha and I'm going to be your host for the day. Once again, I would like to welcome each one of you to SOLIDWORKS 2019 Launch Innovation Day by Beacon. Before we actually commence with our session, I want each one of you to clap for yourself. Can we have a huge round of applause for all our lovely audience? Thank you so much for joining us today and marking your presence at this spectacular event. So we are going to have a few contests that will run throughout the day. So before we actually understand as to what these contests are, just a small request. Can I request all of you to please turn your mobiles on silent mode so that it doesn't disturb our speakers and presenters during the session, please? Great. So let us understand what the contests are. The first one is going to be live Twitter poll. So the questions are going to be displayed on the screen throughout the day after the presentations. All you need to do is to reply the poll on Twitter. But for this you need to have a Twitter account and you need to follow at Beacon_India. So if you don't have an account, first you need to create an account on Twitter, and if you already have an account, all you need to do is just follow Beacon_India. So we'll have the questions displayed after the presentations. So that's our first contest. The second one is highest tweets and retweets. In this, what you need to do is you just have to share your experience by tweeting at Beacon_India and at SOLIDWORKS India with hashtag SWX19 launch and hashtag SOLIDWORKS 2019. So you need to use all this, and the one with the highest number of tweets and retweets will win an amazing prize. So this is the second one. Moving on to the third contest that will be running throughout the day. It is the referral program. I hope you all have collected your feedback forms at the registration desk. Everybody has it, right? Yeah, so please ensure that you fill up the feedback form that will be collected towards the end, or probably you can drop it at the registration desk. So the feedback form shared with you has a last page called referral program. In this, all you need to do is mention your details and refer the company who can become a part of SOLIDWORKS community and can be benefited with SOLIDWORKS. You all got it?
Now, it is said that when Emperor of Mongolia was coming back home from a battlefield, he was very tired and weary, and when he was coming home, he heard a beautiful bird singing a beautiful So all the tiredness kind of vanished into thin air and he felt very good about himself. So he came back home to his palace and he asked his general, so how can we get that song? So now the general said, but Mr. Emperor, we cannot get the song. But why can't we get the song? That is because the bird does not sing over here. But I want the bird to get him into my kingdom. So the general said, no, but the bird will not sing in our kingdom. The habitat is in the neighboring kingdom. So the emperor of Mongolia said, come on, let's go and conquer the neighboring kingdom. So that is what our CEO has done. He's come, he's seen, he's conquered. Mr. Joseph Jerome, ladies and gentlemen, the emperor, even over here, he just came, he saw the stage, and he conquered. Mr. Joseph, CEO. Thank you very much. Could you come home this evening? My wife doesn't know all this. master's and PhD from the Carnegie Mellon University, a very small university in the US, right? Okay. I will not say too much about him because I would much rather that you hear from him directly. He is a leading technologist with specializations in mechanical systems and design. And his research interests, I pretend I understand that for all of them, okay? So you don't laugh at me. It is CAD, of course, computational metrology, product informatics, product design and prototyping. These are his key areas of interest. I urge you to give this presentation a very good hearing, but more importantly, please make use of the question and answer session. Thank you very much for being here. Welcome, Doctor. Good morning, everyone. I must thank Joseph and Marco and team at Beacon for having me over here. I guess we have been at ISC, been with Beacon ever since they were around, and it's been a good journey so far. And Joseph may have forgotten that I did attend one of them. Perhaps there was a SOLIDWORKS event, another Beacon event, but I did attend one in between. But this is the first Beacon event that I'm here, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. The title of my talk is a little grandiose, and I hope I will do justice to this at the end of it. I'm not going to talk too much about technology itself, but rather how one might use science and technology to spur innovation, because that, in our mind, is the need of the hour, as far as we are concerned. And time to leap is the caption. And it's a little brazen advertising, but you will see why that is so later. So let me first start with, rather prosaic description of what I think leads to science and technology-led innovation. Basically, the problem in its coarse abstraction boils down to the following statement that I have put there, which is that you are expected to find a solution that is compatible with the design environment and within the design space. Now, I haven't defined these terms, so perhaps those of you who are seeing it for the first time might wonder what I'm talking about, but I will cover this in a minute. So basically, we are looking at two terms here. One is the design environment, which acts as a constraint on the developer, and the design space, which also is a constraint because one cannot go beyond the design space that is available to the designer or the product developer. What do I mean by that? So design environment is everything that the designer does not control. Right? So one of the original designers and managers at PBS always used to say that the designer will pick for two people. Right? But in India, you will find that there are two people, there are two children, a bag of rice and a pig already on the board. And you can't go tell those people that this is not what it was designed for. They are going to use it today, they want to use it. Right? That's design environment. So all the other things are listed here. There are realities of the physical infrastructure that we have around us. You cannot design a very smart IoT-based system that needs grid power and have it located in Charlotte or something like that. Right? That's a hard matter. It's not going to happen because you won't get grid power there. Likewise, you cannot build a device and expect the user to move it once every 15 days. Because Indians, we don't believe in maintenance at all. Maintenance is something that is very alien to us. And the two-wheel car was actually invented for us, same way with civil maintenance for the batteries. All of these are tailor-made for Indians, because we don't believe in maintenance. So that constitutes the design environment. And an example of that, I just wanted to show you this, every now and then the railways will get reserved for providing comfort to the customers, and they provide this platform ticket vending machine outside the main concourse. And they will take two 1 rupee coins and 1 rupee coin and dispense the ticket. But the problem is that in India, the government changes the shape and size of the coins almost on a daily basis. Right? So what looks like a 2 rupee coin today becomes a 1 rupee coin tomorrow. And so that you'll never be able to get it work. Right? And so the solution you finally end up having is that there's a kid standing next to the machine. He will take your coins, he'll put his coins, get it out, and give it to that's designing environmental sensors. So that's the reality that we have to cater to. Now, real ones may say that I'm going to change this reality, good luck to them. Right? But the realistic ones will embrace this and say, okay, let me design around this and see what can happen. The example that I have not written here, but in the 80s, when for the first time globalization happened in this country, right, a whole bunch of LCD makers came to India from the overseas, right, big names. And finally, when all the dust settled, only Tata Motors was left standing. Because they are the only ones who understood that, big weight on the axle means just a number. Nobody's going to respect that. Right? Roads have potholes that, nobody else would have seen anywhere else. And so they designed around all of that, and so they were the only ones who were successful. Nobody remembers before that and seeing that. Right? So that was their standard, but most in a slightly different form. So those are all implications of that understanding of design environment. So the question now is that, if you want to understand this, how do you understand what the design environment is in design? One, of course, is the word here, so you must be empathetic to your surroundings and should understand this. The other is that you can reverse engineer existing products to understand why they work, right? Why the features that were there, and what it contributed to be successful. The second, of course, is to question everything. Why do you strengthen this part when the original that came from the partner overseas didn't have this? Right? So that is something very important. The third one, which I find is very important, is what we call reflective practice. This is to think about the design process, right? So that you are in a position to predict the emerging trends in design. Right? So some questions I have put here, but this may not be relevant to all. But for example, in this era of what we call pervasive networks and pervasive computing, right? What does user interface mean? If sensors can sense me, figure out what I want from a database that they have about me, then what do I need the buttons on the device for? So what should be the interface to this part? Right? So questions like these, sociological research as it were, would help. The last one, of course, is very important, which is what we call emotion. Right? Voice of customer is not the same as emotion. Because the customer will see a lot of things that bother him or her. Right? But what solution will meet their requirements will not be an answer to those questions. It is to think beyond those questions. And Ford's quote actually captures that quite well. Right? Because his customers then wanted to ask him to produce faster and faster cars. But the reality was that they needed to get from point 1 to point 2 much faster. Right? And for that, the solution, well, manifold. Automobile, of course, was the best one. Then we come to what we mean by design space. Right? Now this is also a constraint, as I said, and an understanding of this is very important. Right? This is the kind of technology and solutions that are available to you in this world today, in your own immediate environment. Right? A simple example, the right combat aircraft when it was first designed. Right? It was designed to be an all-composite aircraft. But the fact remained that at that time India had no capabilities in composite materials at all. Right? So we didn't have the design space to deal with composites. Right? And so, this limited, and I'm sure it had a large role to play in the delays that we saw in the program. So design space is always constrained by the knowledge that the designer has and the technology that is available for him to outsource or use around him or her. And understanding this is very important. But unlike the design environment, which is not so easy to change, the good thing about design space is that you can always enlarge it. Right? And how do you enlarge that? You will practice design. Right? You build new designs, and that's how you push the envelope forward. Right? Second is to be aware of technology. Right? The kind of supporting technologies that are available today for product design. Right? We are here in the midst of people who provide some of the best solutions. Right? To understand that and be aware of what is possible is another way to expand your design.
We'll be seeing you at the end of these sessions. Okay, so maybe I'll ask Pradeep to take up the stage and tell us more about MB. Okay, thanks Pradeep.
Thanks Vishal. Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Pradeep Nijaram. I'm the technical manager for India West representing SOLIDWORKS Dassault Systems. So as Vishal said, we have a great lineup of presentations today, all of which are focused on what we can deliver for you today. We are going to talk about SolidWorks 2019, which is the key core part of today's event. So first of all, again, thanks for being here and taking time off your busy schedules. We appreciate it. We really do appreciate how much time and effort you have put into this, coming all the way, and just interested to know what we have to offer, what SolidWorks 2019 has to offer. I know a lot of you are already using SolidWorks, so the new enhancements that we have brought in today, I'm pretty sure they're going to delight you. I'm pretty sure they're going to help you in your day-to-day. I mean, that's the idea of SolidWorks. You have seen the video initially, the evolution of SolidWorks. So SolidWorks now is a 25-year-old technology. So it has come a long way, starting with being the most user-friendly and the most affordable, most lightweight 3D CAD platform to a complete solution which can now deliver from concept to manufacturing. So without further delay, let me get into my presentation. I don't want to take too much time again, so I will keep it short. I'll keep it very simple because I want to give the stage to the team who has really put their heart and soul into preparing for this event. They want to show you SolidWorks 2019 in its full glory. So I'm pretty sure we should give them enough time and attention. So my presentation is called Sculpt Your Design. So if you're wondering why you would know now, let's start with this simple video. You get the point, why I have titled my presentation as Sculpt Your Design. So an artist like that, bringing up something from his imagination into reality, incredible. I mean, you are thinking in a three-dimensional space. You are not thinking in a flat 2D plane, right? So you're all about imagining something in your mind and bringing it out into reality. And SolidWorks is just a tool we understand, like what he has used, maybe a chisel or maybe a piece of clay. SolidWorks is just a tool to help you bring your ideas to reality. So again, I mean, why am I showing you something completely unrelated? Sculptors, artists, there is a connection. You see where I'm going with this. So a lot of you are design engineers, you are design professionals, so you use SolidWorks. So we like this analogy of comparing you with a sculptor. So the similarities are pretty obvious. Both of you think in 3D. Okay, so when you start, you have something in your mind that you want to design, and then you go out and get it done. So you're bringing your imagination into a 3D form. And again, you might use different tools like a chisel or an axe or a handsaw, or even something as sophisticated as a SolidWorks and a 3D printer or a CNC machine. Both are highly skilled, highly trained, and both are creative, and they're equally passionate about their creation, is what we like to look at it as. We know SolidWorks engineers, SolidWorks community is the most passionate community in engineering and manufacturing domain today. And again, the pursuit to perfection never ends. So every year, every project, you are trying to better the previous one. So what are the differences? I mean, if there are similarities, there have got to be differences as well, right? So sculptors move on a slow lane, so they always make one of a kind of a product, and they work more or less in silos. Designers, on the other hand, they are always on a fast track, they are moving at a very high speed. You are making products for a mass production, you're not making products for a single use. And again, you're working in collaboration with different teams, maybe spread across different countries. So all of this makes you very different from a sculptor. So why are you in such a hurry? Why are designers in such a hurry? Because we know that you are creating products to solve a specific problem. So it can be something something as simple as how we can save time in our day-to-day, something like beating traffic, something like saving energy, something like curbing pollution. So these are all challenges that we face day-to-day, and you are creating products which are helping us solve these real-world problems. And these products are designed for the betterment of the society, like you see the self-navigating car to something like navigation systems, something like healthcare, something like prosthetic devices. So all of these are designed for the betterment of the society. And again, these are products that are solving very specific problems. But there is a inherent point here which you need to understand is that these are products for the masses. These are catering to huge ever-growing population. So the need for new products to solve new problems is on the rise, and innovation is the need for the hour. So you need to be on a very, very, what I say as a flexible, agile platform to get this done. You need all the right tools to be as efficient as the world demands you to be. And we understand that, and we also look at the overall GDP of the world today stands at $87 trillion, and it is all set to go to $108 trillion. So this is a huge amount of goods and services that are being produced and consumed today. And this is in correlation with the population that is ever increasing and ever rising again. So all this said and done, we have certain challenges. Vishal also spoke about these challenges. So these are some of the challenges I'm pretty sure you can relate to. Maybe not all of them, maybe a few of them at least you can relate to. Everybody is pressed for time. Everybody has constraints on designing for cost. You have certain standards that you need to comply to, right? You have a huge amount of data that you are creating, and you need to maintain the data. You are also collaborating with different teams, different companies. Okay, so all this are very, very important, and you cannot ignore any of them. So again, Vishal spoke about MBE being a solution for all of those challenges. So that's the direction Dassault Systems as a company is taking. And we envision this as an approach that will solve or that will address most of the challenges that we saw in the previous slide. So what is MBE? It's an acronym for Model-Based Enterprise. So I think this chart makes it a little bit self-explanatory. So this is the evolution. This is the trend that we saw over the last couple of decades, where we were drawing-centric, where we were focused on getting a master 2D drawing out, okay, which will have all the necessary information about the product. Then came 3D, and then we started designing in 3D, but we still were relying on a 2D drawing, right? So there was a 3D model, but still we were depending on a 2D drawing because that's what manufacturing understands and that's what manufacturing wanted from us. So then came model-based definition. So this was introduced by Dassault Systems in 2014, and we saw good traction, good reception from companies who leveraged this approach to get rid of the 2D drawing. So if you are designing 3D, why do you again go back to the 2D drawing? So all the necessary information is now annotated on the CAD model itself, on the 3D model itself. So from here you can directly create a 3D PDF or e-drawings file, which is all you need to go to a shop floor and get things done. And now we are expanding it further to what we call as model-based enterprise, which is model-based definition plus much more. So now, in addition to the manufacturing information or the PMI that is needed for manufacturing, we are also going to embed or annotate the model with all of these information. Starting from your animations to starting to have your finite element analysis or computational fluid dynamic analysis. All this different data, which you otherwise maintain in different pieces, are now going to be stored on the same file, on the same 3D model. So in essence, it is an annotated 3D model that contains all of the information needed to define a product. So whatever information is needed to define the product, it's going to be there on the 3D model. And this annotated model replaces the traditional drawing. So this is more or less how it works. So the design, of course, is created in 3D in SolidWorks. And then you start doing different different activities, maybe a design validation, maybe a technical communication, maybe a photorealistic rendering, but everything is going to be inside your 3D model. And then this model will be consumed downstream by different departments or different third parties to have all the information that is needed to go about making it into a real physical product. So today, SolidWorks is having a complete solution encompassing your product lifecycle, starting from conceptual design to analysis, where you would definitely validate your design, and then you go about manufacturing it, and then you go about documenting it using different tools to capture the essence of the product. Photorealistic renderings, you would have seen several images, several videos while you are waiting for the presentations to start. All of them are rendered images, none of them are photographs. So we have technology today that will essentially remove bottlenecks in every way possible. So you don't need expensive photo shoots, or you don't need you don't need to wait for your product to be manufactured to create a stunning image to be put on your website or on your sales catalogs. So we have the complete design to manufacturing solution. So as always, we start with the 3D modeling. The centerpiece of SolidWorks is going to be the 3D CAD platform, which will have the analysis tools, which will have the manufacturing CAM tools, as well as quality control, technical documentation, and visual communication. So in today's presentations, we have made sure that we cover all of these pieces. Okay, so we will show different approaches in how do you amalgamate all of this into one single solution that will deliver, that will make your process better. So I'm very happy and very glad to introduce SolidWorks 2019 to you. So most of you are using SolidWorks, which is a very good thing. So for you, SolidWorks 2019 is going to deliver a powerful integrated set of tools, which is aimed at improving reliability, productivity, as well as bringing your product faster to market. So that's what it's essentially boils down to. So we have several tools. We have about 200 different projects, as we call it in R&D. We have 200 delivered. We have delivered 200 different projects in different areas. In weld bands, in MBD, in surfacing, in simulation. So today we are going to touch upon most of this, as time bounds us to be very specific. We will maybe not cover everything, but we are going to do our best job to bring out the most salient, most useful tools which will help you in your day-to-day. For example, we have something called a structure system that you see on the slide on the top left. How many of you use weldments? Can I have a show of hands? Okay, that's good. So you're going to love this. Okay. So this is a brand new way of creating your weldment structure frames. Okay, so this is not a replacement to the existing weldments. We are more looking at it as a weldments 2.0. So it is going to augment, or it is going to beautifully complement the existing weldments functionality. We have something called as 3D textures. Again, this is one of my favorite features in SolidWorks 2019. How many of you use surfacing? How many of you? I see a few hands. Okay, so for those of you who are into consumer products, or even when you use any kind of surfacing, oftentimes you would need to create a 3D, ribbed surface, or surface like knurled surface. So previously it was not easy. I have done these things myself, and it takes hours, if not days. It takes several hours to get it right. But in 2019 we have brought this new functionality called 3D texture. So basically you bring in a 2D image, you map it onto the surface, and then you can create a 3D texture out of it, which is fantastic. It is almost like magic. And then we have new functionality called as extended reality. So these days you hear a lot about VR and AR, virtual reality, augmented reality. So we always had some functionality of VR and AR in the previous releases as well. But in 2019 we have done really something big, which we are calling it as extended reality. So how many of you have used the augmented reality functionality we had in e-drawings? Okay, I see one hand, so that is not good. Okay, so this will definitely, bring in more use cases for you to go back to take this back to your companies and use it in your day-to-day. So e-drawings is a very simple but powerful application. So you can put it on your mobile device, iPhone, Android, or your tablets, and you can carry your 3D models with you. You can talk to your customers. You can show your customers in 3D and in augmented space as well. So previously, if you have used augmented reality, you would need a marker, right, that you would print and put it on a table and then show your 3D model. So in 2019, we are taking away the marker. You don't need the marker anymore. So some of the functionality we have readily available in 2019, SP0, and some of it will be coming later. Sorry.
Is there any app available on mobile Android?
Yes, we have an e-drawings application. So maybe in the break I can show you that. So e-drawings is a free to download application that you can install on iOS or Android. And then you can, this is a part of it, so it is not a separate thing, so it will be a part of e-drawings. And I mean, more details when the team shows you here live, then you can definitely see. And we have the necessary device also, so we can show it to you in the breaks as well.
So right now, as I said, it's been 1 year since this program has been launched. We have about 4 companies that have enrolled in this particular thing. And so 8 students are involved in the exercise. At the end of the summer, right after the internship, 3 projects are going to result in patents. So we've already filed the provisional for these, and we are expecting to pursue them for an actual filing also shortly. So that's a huge plus for the companies as well. It's a very known experience for them, and it is a very rewarding experience for us. is run once, right, plus another one to do the reports and generate all the documents that the company might want to run with this, is that they may or may not want to run with the product family. That is not guaranteed. This is obviously a development exercise, and so that is not guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is that a company that may not have done any design ab initio from scratch, they get the full experience in a matter of 10 months. Right? It's good for the students because they learn how to work in the real world, and it is good for the company because now they know that they can also do new product development from scratch. So that's this program. I can't show you the results from the immediate program, but we've been working with small companies in the past as well. So I'm just going to flash you through as to what was done in the past, again, through earlier version of this particular program, where students are not involved in the form of courses, but they do this as projects. Right? So that's the only difference. And this was basically an anesthesia delivery system. So it is not new product, but an incremental improvement on an existing product, where they wanted to bring in additional capabilities, ventilator and patient monitoring systems that could be incorporated in this anesthesia delivery system. And so we worked on this and came up with the industrial design, 3 options. The user picked one, which was this, and then you do the hard engineering behind that, because it was decided that it would be a primarily sheet metal structure with plastic fascia is what they wanted, and they had some constraints with respect to it being portable, and so you have to design all of that very carefully. And so we did that and finally produced the prototype for them working with a small enterprise. Right? And so what I'm saying is that this also happened over the period of roughly a summer and a project and a course. So about 8 months of effort, right, from the initial need statement to the working prototype. So this is awesome. This is possible. So the next one that I want to talk about is the PIC program, where, as I said, we work with a small company for a longer period of time, transferring IT. Right? And this is a story that I want to tell you about this company. I don't think it was called Vashi before. Vashi was the company this founder started. So he has an SME, not in this country, unfortunately, but outside. But he heard about this technology that was developed by a colleague in IISc on hybrid opera capacitors. Right? And so he was intrigued by this, and he came and talked to the faculty. He liked it. And so we licensed it to this company they formed called Vashi. And we also provided them space in our premises where they could work with the faculty to build products around this technology. So the products they identified were in the areas of off-grid energy storage and off-grid energy delivery. Right? And so the idea was that this is very fast to charge and so this stuff. So that is one of the advantages this technology has. And now they have products in 3 domains, multifunctional solar lighting and solar street lighting. These are already in the market. And they also have off-grid energy storage for the solar farms and things that the government is developing. So this was a 4-year journey from the first initial meeting. Now, they not only have prototypes, they also have a plan in Kenya where they are producing these products.
I would end my presentation just to again point out one more difference that you design engineers, the design community, there is one more difference when you compare to the sculptors, is that you bring the product to life, be it a packaging machine or be it a robot like what you just saw. You bring something to life using a tool like SOLIDWORKS, and that makes us really proud of who you are and what you have done with SOLIDWORKS. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pradeep, for your presentation. Let's understand what's new in SOLIDWORKS 2019. And to talk to us more in detail about this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Anirudh Ayajit, Technical Manager, Beacon, Mumbai. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? And along with him, I would also request Mr. Faizanuddin Syed, Senior Technical Consultant, to please join us on stage.
Okay, so ready for 2019? So let's have a look. Interested? How many guys? Excited? Yes? Yes? So ever wondered what is this on the posters? Most of you must have even received the email invites, the hard copy invites. We have it on the screen. Can anyone guess what is this? what possibly could be this? Anyone? Anyone? Who's it? I heard something. Yeah, it's a telescope. So let us see what's new in 2019. So to do this, I have my colleague Faizanuddin Syed on stage, who is going to, co-presenting this, and followed by Mr. Vaibhav Dhuri, application engineer, who will be presided over. So, as I told, we are the Beacon team, so let's start.
As a scientist, I have to build the puzzle pieces that I need to build this history of the universe. Canada-France telescope is multifunctional. We need to think about solutions to improve the instrument, to make things work. One of the most impressive discoveries that we make here is an object that came through the solar system and we're able to catch it. So we're trying to predict the evolution of the universe for the future.
So, as my friend said, that's right, it's a telescope. So it's called as Canada-France-Hawaii telescope. And let us see, where is it? Right, it's in Hawaii, located at Mauna Kea volcano. So you can see the Google Earth pointing at it right there. So Canada-France-Hawaii telescope is our research customer, okay, and it's been commissioned in 1979. And if you can see, it has a long history of innovation and first in class systems to deliver the needs. So these are few images captured by this telescope from the outer space, galaxies, Milky Ways. So let's see how we as a SolidWorks team has incorporated 2019 and built around 2019 around this product. So if you can see there on the screen, the ground part of it, the ground floor part of it was the existing part of the telescope, and that is a new part which has been built upon. So this is the same data set which you are going to use today to present the what's new in 2019. Okay, so let's see about the enhancements. So as Mr. Pradeep already told you, the R&D team calls it as projects. Okay, so all this boils down to a lot of different, closely around 100, 200 new enhancement year on year. So once this is done, we roll out this and we group them into pillars. So this year, these are the 4 major pillars where we are, going to roll out this new software. So it's performance, attention to detail, design ecosystem, and innovations. So let's move ahead. So we're going to start off with performance. And hey, talking about performance, I guess Mr. Vishal usually tells this. I hope he forgot today. During the course of presentation, if you like anything, you're free to whistle. Okay, that's number 1. And you can clap. He's already doing it, but you can do it louder. Okay. So let's start. So we do have a greatest enhancement ever in terms of performance. So when I talk about 3D CAD software like SolidWorks, and I'm saying that there is a performance enhancement, so what does this mean for you? As a user, what does enhancement in performance means to you in reality? Anyone? You don't want a high-performing software? You do, right? So let's see what does it actually mean, okay? And how does 2019 addresses this? How many of you here build large to very large assemblies inside SolidWorks? Large to very large assemblies. Now, handling big data, I know Karnik said you do. Anyone else? No? Yes, you do. Yes. Okay. So inside SolidWorks, we have this capability known as large assembly mode, or LAM, what we call it as in short. Okay, now what does this do inherently? We use this to boost the performance of the software while handling larger data, so that we don't get the lags, we can work seamlessly, easily. But one thing what it does in the background here is it removes the appearance, so that the performance is better. It removes all the shaded edges, and it gives an a lighter version of the file what you're trying to work at. So let us have a look, how the 2018 used to handle this. So this assembly consists of around 7,000 components. Okay. If you can see here on the screen, I have this large assembly mode on, and this is the performance without much detail on this particular CAD assembly, right? The moment I turn it off, so okay, I'm talking about 2018 and the later releases as well, what are you seeing on the screen? What is this? A lag, right? A lag. So it's happening because now let us see what we have in 19. Okay, so this is how the 19 looks, and as you can see, there is no large assembly mode on. You can handle the data very easily. Now I have this side-by-side compare screen where you can see the same task being done on 18 and 19 and significant time taken to execute that task. Are you able to see this? This is the difference, and one of my favorite enhancement for 2019. Now if you can see this, the time delay and the time consumed in the previous releases, and with the 2019, this is going to significantly give you more time to look at the design, have a better thought, and get your work done faster. You like that enhancement? How many of you do? Yes? So moving ahead. Now, as I told you, how this actually works in the background. So what this technology does here, in the background, it uses the high-end professional, the graphic cards, what we use for our software, like NVIDIA and AMD, and then it achieves this. So we have, complete support of real view graphics, right? Now we have, we don't need those tweaks and performance enhancements like large assembly mode to be done. This is how it works now. Okay, then comes large design review. So we have a lot of enhancements while handling this large assemblies inside SolidWorks. So how many of you are aware of this large design review? Yes, one guy. Okay, two, that's bad. Okay, that's it? Okay, let me enlighten you on this. So what is this for? The large design review mode is actually used to review a large CAD data where you usually do not edit it, you just review the data, check it, that's what it has been used for, and it works quick, it opens up in a light mode, you don't have any editing tools there. That's how it used to be till now, till 18, that's what I mean. Now, what enhancement has been done here is, let me take you live, okay? So this is how the look and feel of SolidWorks 2019 is. Okay, we had seen the screen, very similar screen in 18 as well, but now we have more significant enhancements for this in terms of UI, right? We always used to open up documents from here by directly clicking on it. Now we have all of this open modes right at this welcome screen. You can directly open up in Resolve, Lightweight, Large Design Review, however you want it, right? So even this large assembly of the ground floor opens up in few seconds as compared to others. It's like around 80% of the time, open time enhancement what we have. And the next thing what I like on this, as I told you, there is no significant time lag in terms of opening up this huge detailed assembly as well. So let us see what are few enhancements here, right? Now you have the complete
control over this data, as you can see seamlessly. This is one of the performance enhancement what I was talking about, right? And then I have an option to directly measure over the planar faces over here. And the next good thing here is I can have the sections taken up at any given point of time, and this is the performance level for 2019 years, right? And moving ahead, what's more inside this? Now we have incorporated even editing, editing the assembly mode inside large design review, and this is how it works, right? So now you can directly show or hide components inside, inside this large design review, and we have a nice edit assembly option available now. So you can directly go ahead and even edit this assembly in large design review mode. Now as you're able to see it on the screen, you have the complete access to all the mates. We have access to all the sketches, planes, right? You can just work within this large design review mode. You can delete components, you can insert components, and this is how the new workflow looks like, right? You get the complete access even to the configurations, mates, just like you work in regular SolidWorks CAD. So that's a greatest enhancement when it comes to the performance. Right? So this enhancement will greatly benefit when you're working with the large assemblies in a review mode and you want to make quick changes. This is what you need. So moving ahead, we have some enhancements in Assembly Delighter. So let us take a look at it. So what do we have in this particular enhancements? Now we have an automatic way where you can control and lock the rotation of the toolbox components. I mean, people who work with toolbox components using our library must have experienced this. The moment we add this toolbox, there is a possibility and degree of freedom where it moves. Now we can control it automatically. That's one good news. And this is yet my personal favorite, grouping mates by status. I'm going to show you how it works, and I'm very sure it's going to solve a lot of our life's problem and make it very easier from now on. And the enhancement in exploded view is something which you all are going to like it. So let me take you there. All right, so quickly toggle between and open up the assembly now. Right? So as you can see this, we have a lot of toolbox components used, right? We have a lot of nuts and bolts that have been used onto this particular system. Now, as I told, we have a greater control over this toolbox. Now we can see we have an option to lock rotation of the newly added toolbox components. That means the moment you add it, automatically the concentric rotation of any such components having the concentric mates is going to be locked automatically. And working with assemblies, are you familiar with these colors? Right? We get these errors, right? Okay, so a lot of people do ask me, and my tech support team is here, right? Why does this happen? I mean, people get clueless to troubleshoot this. Now, to fix it within a single click is something you like it, right? You wanted to fix it in a single click. So that's what has been made inside 2019. So let us take a look. All right, so you have these, again, beautiful colors, errors, warnings, right? So from now, what you can do here is you can just right click on this mates group. We have something option called as group mates. Now you can group the mates by the status. So it narrows down the problem. Now if you can see, I have a folder which says solved and it has around 100 mates, right? I don't have to bother about it. Now what I have here is I have errors with 2 of them, and I have overdefined around 4 of them, right? So this is the easiest way to troubleshoot, right? So let's see how I can fix this. The moment I keep my mouse, it says one of the component has a missing reference or something like that. So let us go and fix it. So it says there is a missing plane, right? I'm just going to fix this and done. So that's one of my personal favorite trends, and this is going to make all of our lives easier. Like it? You can whistle, I told you. I mean, I don't mind. Right? So moving ahead, we have another enhancement in terms of exploded view. How many of you guys use this exploded view to create the animations, contents, to show how it the components looks like? So have some, yes. So do you like enhancements in that? You wanted some more functionality in that, right? So let's see what we have now. So now, so this is how the regular exploded view looks like, right? Now what we have is a rollback bar, right, incorporated inside this pane. Now you can roll back to any functionality, add some more features, come back, and just at that step you have those functionality added now, right? This rollback functionality is just, it is going to just work like SolidWorks. We have our rollback inside the CAD, and gives you freedom to reposition any of the activators. Now let me say I had the opening of that end cap scheduled before removing the screws. Now these kind of mistakes do happen, or sometimes we do it in a hurry. Now if you want to fix it, it was not easier before. Now you can just roll back to that end. You can reposition those exploded time steps, and then you can easily create those content. And the same way it works inside the view as well, right? As you can see it works inside the view as well. So that is one of the enhancement which has been there, right? And another functionality here is you can even suppress and unsuppress time exploded steps. So that's, as you can see. Right? And we used to create videos in exploded views, right? And we were restricted to only one format, that was .avi file format. Now we support a lot of different file formats. Either it could be MP4, you can have .mkv, and much more video file formats supporting the exploded view animations as well. Right? So again, let's move ahead and see a new enhancement inside a tool called as D feature, which you already had. Okay, let me ask you a question which might be most common to all of you as a company. How many of you exchange data with your vendors? Or yes, only one guy. Picture is there. Yes. Okay. Rest, yeah, there. So, is it necessary for you, or are you? I mean, does it become a mandatory stuff for you to share all the, you can say proprietary information to the vendor, even though if you don't want to do it? Because a vendor is going to do a very particular set of a task, and you're going to give him a lot of information, but you want to restrict it. You only want to give him a specific information, right? How many of you face this problem or have this requirement? 1, 2, yes, 3, 4. I can see this everywhere. So we have an enhancement there, what we call it as seal out D feature. Now what this tool is going to do is it is going to keep only the relevant information which you want to communicate to someone, and remove all the other information or any confidentiality information from that particular 3D part, and then you can share that particular part for the further process to your vendors. And the good thing here is it keeps the associativity with the original assembly. Any changes you can make, it has associated with that. So let's see, I have this hoist here, so let us, that's how it has been positioned inside that. So let us go ahead and quickly open it. So this is how the original component looks like, the original assembly looks like. Now, let us say that I have to outsource few of these components or few of this to my vendor, which and some relevant information I have to provide, and some of it which I don't. Now what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to make use of sellout D feature option. Okay, I'm going to select few parts from where I can automatically seal out few of this. Now here I'm going to make use of seal out none. That is, it's just going to copy the geometry because I want to keep all that information and give it to my vendor. And here where I have another component, now you can see this, where I want to keep this as well, into that particular sellout D feature, and I'm going to just copy it again, right? And now this motor, where I want to give it to him, I want to remove some critical information from it. So what it does here is, it has removed the critical information, but has kept the relevant information so that only he can see and measure. That's it, right? So similar looking parts, but we are only communicating what is required for the vendor. So that is what this new feature does. Similarly with this, now it can be multi-directional as well. Even if you can see this component a bit geometrically complicated, where I want to hide information in multiple directions, X, Y, and Z. That is also possible. As you can see there, only the relevant information remains. Everything else is gone. Okay. So, and good thing here is, as I told you, the associative link remains with the assembly. So that's it from me from the performance. So I hope you like the enhancements in the performance, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it once you start using 2019. And the significant change in the performance, you can feel it on a desktop. So that is when you're going to get the real feel of it, right? So the next thing here is the attention to detail. To present this, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Mr. Faizanuddin Syed, and he's going to take you through the newest announcements, more exciting. Okay, I did the easiest part, So, so he's going to show you the more in-depth, detailed presentation. So Faizan, all yours.
So, hello. Hello. Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Faizanuddin Syed, and I'm working as senior technical consultant with Beacon. So, those were some really nice enhancements in the performance segment. Let me just take you forward with the next segment, that is attention to detail. So, first is my favorite of 2019, that is the structure system. As Mr. Pradeep has already asked you, I'll ask you once more, how many people are using weldments right now? Okay, so a lot of people are using weldments, even though those people who are not using weldments are aware about the functionality. So it's a great tool, it's a very easy tool to create structural members. In 2019, we have powered the weldment functionality and included a new structure system. So without any much delay, I'll just hop into SolidWorks software. So let me just open this file. Now, people who are using weldments are aware that we needed 2D and 3D sketch for creating a particular weldment structure. Now, as you can see on the screen, I have a couple of surfaces. So we have surface bodies, and I have a sketch over here as well. So in 2019, we have a new structure system. The significance of this structure system is you are no longer dependent on any 2D or 3D sketches. So what I mean is, now let me start with a primary member. First of all, let me just hide this sketch, we'll need it later. So I'll start with the primary member. Now what I'll do is I'll just select these surfaces. As you can see, the edges of these surfaces are highlighted. Now I can move on to my profile. I'll select a particular profile, I'll select a particular type, and I'll select a size over here as well. As soon as I make the selection, you can see that it has automatically detected the edges and created structure members on that. So you no longer need a 2D and 3D sketch. You can work with the edges over here as well. So let me just hit OK. Now you can see how exactly it looked like. But the problem over here is I don't need the same structural member on all the edges. So what I can do is I can just select those which I want to change, and it will automatically open this window. So I have the option to change the profile over here. So let me go for a round tubing and just select a size. and yeah, it's changed. So this is how easy it is to create a structure member and to make any changes as well. So let me quickly show this sketch. Now let's create another structure member. So I'll select this. Let me just delete these two edges. I don't want this. And here I'll go ahead and select a new profile. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and select a profile. Okay, so that is done. You can also notice that there is something called a secondary member. So what secondary member does is it connects the primary members together. So let me just show you. I'll select the secondary member. It is asking me for support plane. So I'll just select the top plane and another reference plane. And here what I'll do is I'll keep selecting the structure members which I want to join. So I'll just select this. I'll select this members. So as you can see, as I'm selecting this, it's creating a structure member between these two. So it's automatically joining them together. Again, you don't need any sketch to join them. It is all automatically taking the reference plane for creating the structures. So let me just complete this. I'll go to the profile. Let me just change it back again. So I'll select this. And yeah, we are done. So you can see how easily we created these structure members together. Now a problem over here is we have a lot of joints over here as well. So people who are using weldments must be using features where we can merge joints together, or I can trim the joints as well. But here if I just exit the structure system, it automatically goes into the corner management. So I can see there are two categories, simple and complex. In the simple, if I just click on this, you can see we have a simple corner. So what I can do is I can just select a body trim and it will trim automatically. Now for more complex corner, if I click on complex, it highlights which are the complex corners. So let me just select this. So you see that there are 3 structure members merging over here. And there is a round member over here as well. So what I can do is I can adjust it accordingly. So let me just move it, and you can see that it has automatically created a corner. I can even make it as a trim body. So what I'll do is I'll just move it into this box, and it has automatically trimmed it. Similarly, I can do this, do it for this as well. So let me just select this member and let me move it over here. I'll hit OK. And now it's done. So finally, to complete this, what we'll do is we'll use our regular circular pattern, and let's create a pattern. I have an axis, and let's select these structure members. So you can see that this complex structure, how easily it was made within minutes by using the new structure system. So with the new structure system, you are no longer dependent on 2D and 3D sketch, and you can adjust with different profiles in a single window, and there's a flexible corner management option over here as well. So like this enhancement, anyone? Yeah. Next is we come into the part delighters. How many people are using multi-bodies? Creating multi-bodies. Okay, a lot of you are using those tools. So when generally we are working with the assembly, it's pretty simple to calculate the interference. But it's a bit of a challenge if I'm working in a multi-body. But not anymore. Let me just show you. I'll open a multi-body part, and I want to check for the interference over here. So what I'll do is I'll go to evaluate and get into the interference detection as we usually do it in the assembly environment. So it's that simple. I'll hit calculate, and it is highlighting 3 interference. Let me just select all of them, and let me just zoom in. So you can see that the interferences are highlighted. Now I can make necessary changes to avoid this interference. So you no longer have to take the multi-body part into the assembly and then check for the interference, then come back again. It's now everything can happen directly into the part environment itself. So that was for the multi-body interference. Next, we have in 2018 we introduced a new feature for creating tab and slot. This year we have enhanced the functionality to include unequal offsets as well. Previously it was only equal offsets. Now you can create unequal offsets. Now there are some corner type as well. Previously we used to have only sharp corners. Now there is the fillet corner, chamfer corner, and there is a circular corner over here as well. Now slot cuts for blind tabs can now be through all. So you can see there are two types of tabs over here. On the right, in this particular thing, we need a slot which is through all. But over there, we don't need that. So in this scenario, you can control which you want through all and which you don't want it. Now if I'm creating different groups, so I can link the groups together. So if I make any change in a particular group, it is reflected on all the groups. So that can be done. Now let's quickly just jump into this and I'll show you what exactly I mean. So I'll open this sheet metal component and we'll quickly go into the tab and slot. Now I'll create a new tab. Let's just select these two edges, this surface. And if I move into the bottom, these are the new enhancements. So I can, there's an option no through cut. By default it's off, you can turn it on. You can see there's an unequal offset over here. So there's a 1 mm and 0.1. If you want an equal offset, you can do it. Also there's an option for corner type as well. So I can choose any corner. Let's say I want chamfer. Let's make it 0.5. Let's create another group. So I'll create a new group. I'll select this particular edge and this face. And just see if I make any changes, it is happening, it is reflecting in both the tabs. So I can link those groups together. Let's hit OK. And you can see we have a chamfer corner available with us. So that is what's new with the tab and slot. So with this new tab and slot option, now you can create tabs and slot with more details over here. Now coming on to the next part, that is the enhanced use of imported mesh and transform appearance into geometry. So as Mr. Pradeep was talking that creating some patterns are, many times it's very difficult and maybe we have to use some textures or something, but the problem over here is if I'm sending it to for 3D printing, rapid prototyping, I need the actual model for that. So that issue has been can be solved by using this new feature. Next, we have partial fillets and chamfers. We can delete hole from surfaces over here as well. So let me quickly show you all how exactly it is. First, let me just close this. Now over here we have a handle grip. So you can see it's a nice surface. Many times people they get a particular part and they try to reverse engineer it. So anyone over here who has a 3D scanner, who is using a 3D scanner? Yeah. So previously we had the functionality to import the files directly from a 3D scan. So we always had the options for creating the mesh body into, for converting the mesh body into a surface or a part. But this year we have enhanced, we have introduced a new feature actually. So let me just open this scan handle. You can see it's a .3mf file. Okay, so I have this file, I have this model with me. So what I can do over here is I can go to the new slicing option. In the slicing option, let me just select top plane, and I can just select the number of planes which I want to create. Let's say it's 8 and the offset is 20. Now notice what exactly it does. It is slicing the particular body into different planes. So you can see we have different segments over here. It not only creates planes, it also detects the profile over here as well. So you can see we have different sketches. If I just hide this body, you can see we have the complete profile of the body available with us. So now these profiles can be easily converted into a surface or a solid body. So let's select a lofted surface and let me start clicking on the sketches. As you can see, it's creating a nice surface body. So you no longer have to spend time on converting it into a surface or a solid. You can just trace the outer sketches and you can convert it into a solid or a surface. Yeah, so that's done. Now let's split this into two. So let's select a front plane and let me just cut it into two. So we have a couple of surface bodies with us right now. Now I want to project a sketch over here. So first of all, I have something in the design library. I'll just bring in this logo. Yeah. So let's quickly bring in this logo and I'll place it over here. Now we can project this on a particular surface if I want, but previously it was restricted to only one surface. But now I can select surfaces on two directions and use the bidirectional option. So it can project on multiple surfaces over here as well. So let's get back to this assembly. Let me hide this. Now you can see there is a button over here, and if you can notice there are some gaps in the face. So with 2019 we have a new feature. So we can just delete these holes. So what I can do is I can select a particular edge and it automatically detects the rest of the edges and it automatically deletes the hole. So let's select this edges, and there is one over here as well. Now you can see how easily it has removed the holes and you get a nice surface over here. Now there is a wire passing from this handle and I want to check for the interference. So let's go to the interference detection and I want to check an interference between this particular wire and the handle. And I can see that there is slight interference happening over here. So for removing this, let's create a chamfer. So I'll go to the chamfer option and I'll select this option. Now previously we could only provide chamfer to the complete edge, but I don't want it for the complete thing. So what I can do is, let me just change it to 2. I can use the partial edge parameter. So you can see there are a couple of points with me. What I can do is I can just drag this. Okay, let's change it to 1. Yeah, it's visible now. So I can just drag it as long as I need. So that's okay for me. And if I want it to be an asymmetric chamfer, I can do that as well. Okay. So let's give this as 1 and the second one will be 2. So with that we can create the partial chamfers as well. Now you can see there is a nice grip available with me over here. Let me just open this grip. Now there is a pattern available with me. Let me just change it to a different one. So most of the time we use something like null or ribs or bump. So these patterns are a lot of time very hard to create, such as this one. So with 2019 we have a new functionality called 3D texture. Let's have a look at how it works. So I'll just go to this configuration called null, and here in my library I have a texture called null. So I'll just drag and drop it over here and I'll select this face. Let's do the mapping for this texture. So here let's just use the projection and we'll use the YZ for it, and let's adjust the width over here as well. Okay, so it looks nice. Now what I can do is I can just go to the solid body and I can use the 3D texture option. So here I can select this nulled, you can see the texture type, and over here we have a different option, texture refinement, offset distance. So let's move this option, offset distance, to something over here, and there's also maximum element size. So let's just reduce this to around 0.3, and you can see we have a nice texture available with us. Let's hit OK. And you can see how easily we converted a JPEG image, a texture file, into an actual 3D texture. Now I can easily send it for 3D printing and there will be no problem with that. So with these new enhancements, it's very easy for importing the mesh file, and you can easily create 3D textures over here as well. Next, user experience. So Mr. Anirudh has already spoken about some user experience enhancement. I'll take you into more detail for that. So first of all, let's close this. So how many of you are using 2018 SolidWorks right now? Okay, you notice this window, and can you point out some difference over here? This tab was launched in 2018, so it was there, but there is some difference. Can you point out? Anyone? No? So here on the top, if you can see, we have a quick filter over here. So I can filter it according to part, assembly, or drawings. Also, we have a filter by name. So let's say if I want to type a particular file name, I can easily type it. So I have there's a camera. And you can see that whichever file has the particular name, it will highlight that. So previously, it was only just whatever the recent documents we opened, it will show that. But now there is much more to that, and you can even save up to 100 recent documents over here. So that is how easy it goes. So let me just open this file. Now anything we create in SolidWorks is referenced to something. Like if we create a particular sketch, it is referenced to a plane, or if we create a particular feature or anything, so it is referenced with something. Now by mistake something happens and the reference breaks, you will see a lot of errors. So in 2019 there's a new way for avoiding such problem. So let's I have this camera baffle front, and there is a sketch. You can see the reference of the sketch. So it's pointing to these two planes, and there's the origin, and it's pointing to something else as well. So it's reference to multiple things. Now if I want to break the reference, or if I want to lock the reference, what I can do is I can just click on this and I can easily get the option. So I can just lock the reference over here. Now if I want to check the status of the references, I can just go to the external reference over here, and if you just see, it's the status is locked. So you can easily check for the status. Also from here, what I can do is you can isolate a particular component. So you see that this is the rear portion, and it has a sketch, it has a hole, and there's a circular pattern. Now this particular circular pattern, it's reference to some other object, but I don't need to do that, because if for some reason I remove the particular object, all the references will break over here. So what I can do is I can just break the selected reference directly from here, and we'll go to the circular pattern, and for the direction let me just zoom in, and I'll select the surface for the direction. So now it's a reference to its own what you can say, circumference. We have some 3D views available with us. So there is a view with the nodes. So let's go into that. So okay, yeah. So there is a note which states that the camera counterweight requires a minimum distance of 50 mm between faces. So if I want to make any changes, let's say if I click on this, now I want to reduce this, now there's a 10 mm over here. Now if I want to reduce it, but I don't know what exactly is the distance between these two. Only thing I know is it should be more than 50 mm. So in 2019, there's a new enhancement where you can measure the distance right when you are making any changes. So let's say if I just zoom in and I click on this, and you can see the distance is right now 45. So I know how much exactly the distance I should reduce. So from 10, let's make it to 4. Yeah, so that will increase the distance to 51. So I can easily calculate that. So with the new user experience, as I told, you can view up to 100 recently open files. You can easily filter and search type. You can manage external reference, and you can there is a live measure in any command over here. So next, moving on to the drawings. So we I'm sure everyone who is using SolidWorks must be using 2D drafting. So let's have a look at what's new in drawings. So here you can generate complex section views faster. We have option for creating section views, but there's a new type of section view available with us right now. And there's more flexibility when creating whole tables, and you can easily create more detailed bill of materials. So let me just show you what is new. So let's open this file. Now section view, it always shows you the complete section. So let's say if there is something in behind, I'll be able to see that as well. But let's say if I don't want that, if I want to view only a particular segment, so what I can do is I can use the new remove section tool. Here what I'll do is I'll select these two edges. So I want to cut only these two sections, and I'll select this point. And you can see it has created a section view over there, and you can see the section below, how exactly it is. Now for the tolerance, we have a new tolerance modifier, so you can go ahead and you can specify limits. So if you're using such standards, you can use this. So we have this for the upper and lower limit. Now anyone who is using whole tables over here? Yeah, so we have enhancement for the whole tables. So I'll go to the whole table. I'll select this for the reference, and I'll select this for as a surface, hit OK. Now in the whole table we have, you can adjust the tag order. So it's XY right now. If I want to make it reduce toolpath, I can do that, and it will make changes accordingly. Or if I want to make it radial, I can do that as well. You can edit the tag type. So let's say if I want to select a manual, and if I want to make some changes, let's say it's A and BB. And you can combine the same sizes as well. So if I hit this, you can see it has combined the same sizes together. Now, did someone ever experience the problem? Let's say if you are making continuous changes to your design and your drawings are also updating, so it takes some time for that. To make a change in the design, if you come back to the drawing, it automatically updates. So let's say if you are into the particular situation, what you can do now is you can select the views. Let's say I select these 3 views, and I can exclude from automatic updates. So what will happen is whenever I make change, these views will not update automatically. So let's let's open this 3D model. Let me just resize it from 7 to 13 maybe. Yeah. Now let's get back to the drawings. So notice that the 3 views which we selected, it's showing some orange outline over here. That means these 3 views are not updated. Let's say if you want to update a particular view, you can just select it, and you can update the view manually as well. So this will save you a lot of time if it's getting automatically updated again and again. Now I'm sure everyone is creating a bill of material, and over here you can see different previews as well, right? So whenever this was whenever I used to visit some customers, they asked me, let's say if I want to export it to Excel, I'm not able to see the part preview. So that was a request from a lot of customers. So in 2019, we have enhancement, so I can just save it. So let me just save it somewhere. Okay. So I'll give it a name, let's say camera. And what I'll do is I'll select Excel over here. Here you can see we have an option for the thumbnails. So I'll hit it over here and let's save it. Okay. Let me just open that particular file. So I'll go over here. And we have the BOM with us. So you can see that with everything, let's say item number, part number, you also get the preview of your part directly. So this will be a great thing if you can just export it, and if you are giving it to someone, they can easily understand which part looks how. So that is for the bill of material. So with the new drawings, we have a new option for removing section. We can renumber and rename tags in whole tables, and you can export component images in BOM as well. So this gives you an increased performance and greater flexibility working with drawings. So with attention to detail segment, you can capture critical design data with very ease over here. So next will be design ecosystem and Twitter poll. Okay, so we have a Twitter poll coming up. So
yeah. Can I have it? Yes.
Yeah.
So all of you have your Twitter accounts ready? Okay, so let's do it.
Thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for both our presenters? Thank you so much. All right, so before we move on to our question, just a quick reminder about the Model Mania. Please ensure that you participate in that, which is happening just outside the banquet. Okay, so here's the question. SolidWorks toolbox utilities contain which of the following tool? And your options are, first, CAMS Creator, I hope I'm reading it the right way, Beam Calculator, Bearing Calculator, all of the above. So you just need to go tweet, and we're going to have more questions which will be coming up after the presentations. I hope everybody's checked the question properly, huh? Yes? Yes, no? Great. So I think it's time we break for a quick tea coffee. Yes? Alright, so I'll see you back in 15 minutes. Please go refuel yourself and come back soon. Thank you.